What is up, guys? So this video today is going to be on having kids and wanting to have kids myself, and the current climate within the trans society about giving kids hormones to delay puberty and stuff like that. I'm actually going to go along with that, and I'm going to bring up Blair White, and I know she's very controversial, but I think she is bringing up something that we need to talk about, and I am experiencing personally myself. So let me just go into my story, and then I'll talk about my point of view that has actually changed. So I went on hormones about 4 years ago, and one of the toughest decisions about me going on hormones was the possibility of me being sterile. I have some dysphoria of my genitalia, but it's not as much as other people, and I really want to have kids one day. So I actually decided that, convince myself I need to adopt. I'm going to adopt. It's going to be okay. There's plenty of kids out there in the world that need a home. I'm going to adopt. So the last 4 years, I have had that idea, or 3.5. And then last year, a year ago, I have gotten really depressed. And I mentioned that a couple of times on YouTube. And I didn't know, I knew a surgery is coming up, and basically the end of the depression was talking about I'm going to get surgery, because I think that's where a lot of it probably stems from. And got a consultation date. I just made a video, and I'm going to have a series, and I'm going to upload it after I have surgery, just so you guys can go. I'll get that information, but this is something that I want to talk about before. This is not part of the video series, but I have a consultation and I have a surgery date. And one of my biggest concerns actually has been being sterilized, and I want to have kids, and I really want my own kids. I don't know why. There's just this inner feeling within me that I really, really just want my own kids. And I've tried to convince myself for a really long time that adopting's okay, but there's just something that makes me super uncomfortable about that thought. I'm just going through that process, and I just want to have my own kids. And I brought it up in my therapy, and we figured that was something we need to explore more. So I ended up going and seeing a doctor who's gonna do my surgery for me, and they were talking about how I should actually look into saving my sperm. And they have kids, and they are also trans, and they said it was one of the best decisions they've ever had in their life. And that's all I've ever really wanted. I have this aspiration to be a great coach, great job, but one of the main deciding factors of me transitioning was me wanting to be a mom, not wanting to be a dad, and being a mom with my own kids. And I'm getting emotional right now. I feel like I'm gonna cry. So I actually reached out to a place that does sperm analysis and sees if I can have kids. I actually reached out to that place, and I went and had a semen analysis. And within my semen analysis, it came back terrible. I actually had no semen and no living sperm cells, anything. So at that moment, I was infertile, like sterile. There we go. I was sterile, and I can't have kids. But the doctor I went to see, she said, you're gonna go to this place, and your test results are gonna be terrible. And she said this to me, and I thought, that's very interesting that you say this. She goes, but if you go off hormones, most people that I've had in your situations, they go off hormones between a month and 6 months, and they regain fertility back. And I was like, this fertility thing and being able to have my kids has been a real big decision in when I'm going to have surgery and how confident I am going into surgery. I have decided that if I am able to have my own biological kids, I am going to feel like 95% more comfortable going into having the surgery than knowing I never saved sperm. So I've actually gone off hormones. And being off hormones has been something really, really crazy. So I've had a lot of side effects on hormones, and I don't think I realized the side effects until I went off my hormones. So I felt like just confused all the time when I was on hormones, and I went off of them, and I have much clearer thinking. It's so strange. I can just think, and I feel like I'm living now, which is really strange. And I actually looked at one of the side effects of all my hormones because I've never done that before, and one of the top side effects of spironolactone is extreme confusion and dizziness and stuff like that. And I feel like that's been my whole life since I've been on hormones. I haven't been able to have clear thinking. And there's been some other things that have changed for the better and the worst. There's personal things that you guys don't need to know about that have gotten much better. And trust me, it's not like anything you guys really know. It's just like, it's kind of gross. That's why I don't want to say it. And then there has been things that have been worse. So one thing that has been worse is my skin is definitely not as soft. It's getting really hard. And I've only been off hormones for 3 weeks. But one really cool thing and bad thing is, one, my sex drive is crazy up, and I don't like that. Another thing is, though, I'm producing a lot more semen. And just based on research, I think there's a very good possibility that I'm going to be able to have my own kids. And that makes me feel super happy about myself. And it's super relieving to know that I'm going to be able to have kids. I don't know that for sure. I'm going to go in for another semen analysis a month after I've been off hormones. But based on everything that's been happening now, I think it's a very definite possibility, because when you're on hormones, you don't have a lot of semen, I guess. It's very clear, and it's like a drop. And I've been off for 3 weeks, and it's exactly like how it was before I transitioned. It's kind of crazy how drastic the change. With that, though, dysphoria has come back. I get a lot more erections, just like, I guess, and my tucks are a lot more uncomfortable because I tuck up and my testicles have gotten bigger, so it's a lot more achy. And I've had more dysphoria around my genital area as of lately. But in the end, I think it's going to be worth this pain for the next couple of months, just to make sure that I can have kids. And I'm very optimistic that I'm going to be, because like, the changes have been unbelievable. How fast everything has gone back from before I transitioned, if you know what I mean. So I want to talk about Blair White. And Blair White is very opposed to kids transitioning and sterilizing themselves. And she doesn't think kids should transition until teens-ish. For my personal belief, after my personal struggles that I've gone through, I don't know if medical transition is necessarily the right answer, and I might not be educated enough on this. I obviously think if you're trans and as a kid, you should socially transition. That should be a thing that you should do, because I think it'll help you a lot in the long run. But I think there needs to be more medical research done on medical transition and sterilization of kids, because the pain that I've gone through in wanting to have kids and knowing that it might not be an option, even though I had the option before, is something that's really hard for me. And I don't want, it's been mentally hard too. It's caused a lot of depression and everything, and I don't want other kids to go through that. So that's why I think there needs to be more research on it. Can you delay puberty, not necessarily give them female hormones where they become sterilized, but delay puberty enough to where they can make a rational decision at a later age and maybe be mature enough to be able to procreate. I think that's something that we need to have a serious debate on, because there's something innately human about wanting to have kids and wanting to have your own kids. And to me, even 4 years ago, I transitioned at 21. I thought I could handle just having adopted kids, but it has caused me some serious mental harm knowing that I couldn't, and now that I know that I can, possibly, it makes me that much happier. And that's something that I think we need to debate more is, should these be kids really be potentially sterilizing themselves for for I don't know for what? Like, why are we sterilizing them? They can socially transition. Why do we have to medically make them transition? And I know that's a bold statement, and I don't mean it in that way, but I think that's something that we just need to really focus on and talk about more in the trans community is, are we really okay with just handing these kids hormones and maybe potentially sterilizing them? I'm not saying that's the right answer or the wrong answer. It's just something we need to have a debate on, because for me it's caused a lot of self-harm, and I don't want other people to feel what I've felt, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was my video. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. This is something that has been really hard for me in being sterile, and then now the possibility of having kids, and I have a tight timeline to get this done with before I have my surgery. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, I definitely think this is something that we should open up to a debate. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will talk to you later. Bye!